So it's been an extraordinarily long day, and I really wanted to make a video earlier I was going to do like a five stories in 1 minute or less, actually, but and I had them all kind of like sort of figured out, and then I've been just livid today, like many of you, since the budget bill was signed earlier today. And you know, in no particular order, I'm just going to do a vlog from the car. I haven't posted one lately, and I'll do this until my video runs out. If it aborts abruptly, it's because I have no more space on my phone. Politicians are not who we support. Policy is who we support, and the politician behind the policy is secondary. I think whenever we can keep that as our focus, it becomes a lot less emotional. Obviously, whenever someone's personally attacking a person and you know that it's unjust, which they do to President Trump a lot of the time, it's important then to personally then defend him. But at the same time, whenever people are saying things that are factually, personally against him, that are true, it's important not to make excuses for. Although, it's not that cut and dry. There's a couple YouTubers, and I don't want to go into any names, but lately, they had, even before the budget bill was passed, they took it upon themselves to start associating President Trump with Harvey Weinstein and bringing up the whole MeToo. And yes, it's relevant because in the news they're continuing to beat the drums of porn star Stormy Daniels and this risque relationship that he had with her. And notice that in no time will these people ever discuss the nature of the relationship being consensual, you know, which is relative. It is relative. And yes, I think Harvey Weinstein is he's gross, right? But guess what? Not to defend him, but a lot of these people that were laying up in bed with him were doing it because they were negotiating a really bad deal. You know, they thought they felt they needed to do that. They were pressured. They said, look, when you're an adult, you make your own adult decisions. One of the things that really pissed me off about this whole hashtag MeToo is there were actual, real, true victims, and I've said this before, true victims of sexual assault. And for everyone who's out there who's hashtagging MeToo because you made a bad decision or you felt uncomfortable because you made bad choices that led you in that spot, I'm not saying that you deserved it or whatever. I'm saying that take fucking responsibility for your own choices that got you to that position. That's all. You know, take fucking responsibility for your own choices that got you that position. If you're going up to someone's fucking hotel room because you're expecting something back, if you're thinking that you're finagling and that you're just being charming or whatever, you know, this is what happens. Learn from your mistakes and quit blaming other people. And to conflate now President Trump with everything else going on with Harvey Weinstein, it's just very tasteless. You know, it just shows how badly, you know, in some ways it shows how loose the grip is on trying to manipulate why we shouldn't like President Trump. So they have to use this, you know. And then, you know, people say, then they bring up Hillary and Clinton, Bill and the rapes and everything, and people are like, oh, she's not your president. And it's just very circular. The conversation can go around in so many different ways. But the bottom line is, let's just divvy it up, you know. Let's divvy it up to where it needs to be. His personal relationship that he has with his wife, and that what he's done, especially in a decade gone past, it's irrelevant. Irrelevant. My opinion. My opinion. And that's all that is my opinion. And my opinion, is formulated based on the accumulation of perspective of everyone else involved and everyone else that were lining him up again in contrast. Now, if he were the pastor of a church or, you know, other positions that you may look at, then you might look at that and say, oh, it matters. It matters more so because he's somebody whose platform is, I'm pious. I'm without sin, or I'm a holy person, or I don't do anything wrong. Okay, that's not kind of like why one of the very many reasons I don't like Hillary Clinton is because she actually used as her platform being a feminist and being so advocating for females while all that was going on. So it is really relative. You could say I'm just making that up and I'm rationalizing how that is, but that's actually factual. There's a relativity between her using a platform of feminism and being pro-woman when she's, basically defending people who have committed atrocious crimes and just all of that. So, you follow me where I'm going with that. But back to Trump and this budget today, which is kind of different. Last night, I perused several hundred pages spot looking at, I love the, Adobe Reader because you can put in a search word and it can pull you up all those pages that have that word in it. I say that, do that. That's very helpful when you're trying to just look at something. Put in the word wall. It didn't come up very often. I forget the number of times, but it wasn't often. Whenever he started tweeting early about vetoing, it picked up speed. Obviously, the people who supported his presidency are not happy about what he did today. I'm not whatsoever. I think he should have vetoed it. And then, of course, I say that not having any flipping idea what actually transpired between the time that he's tweeting out he might veto it, he should veto it, and then him actually standing there and discussing how he hates the bill but he's going to sign it. What exactly transpired within that time? I would love to have audio and video, preferably, of that time span between those hours of everything that transpired. Do you know how valuable that would be? Do you know how valuable that information would be if we could actually hear what went on? Because really, understanding at that point who was talking with him and just immediately preceding when he tweeted that, to know exactly what was said prior to that conversation, in between that conversation, and then after he signed, would actually give everyone a very, very solid idea of who is actually influencing everything. And then we can deduce from there why. Now, I know I have certain people that are going to tell me why it's the Jews or whatever. I don't think that we should fucking be anywhere else. I am all for protect and defend our country, right? America. And sometimes to protect and defend, you have to attack and destroy. We are not in a position where attack and destroy, in my belief, is necessary to protect and defend. We shouldn't be fighting anyone else's wars, period. They should not be our wars. We should not be striking multi-billion deals, paying, and look, and this goes way back. Fucking Obama and his $1.7 billion in cash in the middle of the night, and then some bullshit story about why we were giving them money, paying them back. I mean, the mind fuckery with all of that. It's just, and that's all, and there's just so much. I mean, I did read enough in the bill. Mentioning fencing. I think I did the calculations, and it calculated out to being about $248 per inch for fence. That's right, for the 14-mile section. any sort of IRS document I have or legal document I have, there could be a provision written someplace, somewhere on, 1,400 pages into the future in that document that relates to that makes an exception, some provision, if and or but then see X, Y, Z, and then they refer you back up one end down the other. All these fucking loopholes. You can't just sign the bill. This is what's so disheartening. The first thing you understand whenever you are any sort of business person is you don't fucking sign anything until you've read it. Right? You don't sign something until you've read it. And you especially don't sign a contract that's legally binding. Now, what's interesting is people start talking about the veto. He can veto, line item veto. Okay, I'm not a politician. I'm not a legal, political an attorney or anything like that, so I'm going to research everything like you guys do, right? Research that. Well, what do we find out? Well, sure, Bill Clinton did it. Bill Clinton gets to do everything. Did this in 1996. Then conveniently in 1998, it was declared unconstitutional. But it's very difficult to find much more information after that. My guess is that it just depends on who's going to come up behind him and wants to do that. I didn't get so far as to seeing, did Obama ever line item veto anything? I don't know the answer to that. I've been working. I have, a whole other life. I can't just follow all this all the time. So did he? I don't know. But I did see where it said specifically that, I did see where it said specifically that there's a 5-day window, right? A 5-day window, 5 days. So that would suggest that he has 5 days from now, I guess not including Sunday, to line item anything. So if he's going to attempt to do this, if he's going to attempt to line item, and then I really don't know where that is, what the mainstream media is perpetuating, not that they tell the truth, because they'll lie. They'll try to convince us the whole next week that he's not permitted to do that, when he actually could need to follow somebody who understands what the law is on that. But yeah, so then he's going to have this upcoming week to do that. It's interesting because then don't they go into a session, a holiday session or something? Is everybody off or what for Easter? It pisses me off. Paul Ryan, he needs to fire. I set out some tweets today. I'll put my Twitter. My Twitter's usually handles in the description box if you want to see my tirade of what I go on and start tweeting like a lunatic. All in haiku format, of course. He should fire Paul Ryan. Absolutely fire Paul Ryan for putting that piece of shit together. For being the one who fucking handed that piece of shit over. That's where the buck stops. You have a president who signs things. They get painted in corners, but there's people behind him, underneath that. There's a hierarchy there's a chain of events that transpire, that create that document. They've been working on this any time along the way. This isn't just like, they didn't just throw this together the past 48 hours. There has been people work any time. Were they not allowed to look at that bill? Was the president not allowed, I'm asking questions, I don't know. It was the president or his constituents not permitted to look and see what was in that bill until it was delivered in its finality today or the other day? That's a question. Because if they were permitted, then why the fucking shock and awe now? Why the shock and awe now? I don't know. I can't jump to that conclusion. I'm asking that question. It matters. All the spending. Personally, I believe our military forces should be compensated adequately for their time and service. Do I feel like we need more nuclear warheads or more nuclear this or nuclear that? Nope, I don't. And I want to see where the fuck the money is going. Where the fuck is the money going? Don't fucking throw out some, $68 million for this. No, bitch, give me a fucking breakdown. When I do my taxes, which I'm going to tell you what, I don't fucking go there with how much fucking paperwork I have to do to account for every last fucking dollar. If you want to throw out a 2,232 motherfucking page budget, go ahead and tack on another 500-600 fucking pages and line item that bitch so we can see with our own calculators where the fuck it's going. I think we can handle that. I think we deserve to have it because they're asking us to pay for it. And to just say 68 million here, to even if it's like, 500,000 here, 500,000 is a drop in the fucking bucket. That's like a nickel, in the comparison of $1.3 trillion. But it isn't. We need to hold them accountable. Line item that. They came up with that figure, and then there should be we should be allowed to balance the fucking budget. We should be allowed to, in a year's time, go back and see exactly where their receipts were and how it was spent. Why can't we do this? I mean, sure, mind you, a lot of people don't want to do it. But guess what? There are probably a lot of people who would be happy to do it. They don't have any friends. They don't do anything particularly interesting on the weekend except work. Raising my hand in the corner. So what we say is, fuck it, yeah, sure, I will go through that and look and see. Because I would be very interested in seeing at the end of the year when they allocate these millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, where it actually goes. Because this is really just like really one part. It's an important part, but it's just one actually small part of what actually transpires after that, because of all those provisions, because of all those changes, because of things that kind of come up along the way when people do shady shit. How are you supposed to hold somebody accountable for something if you never fucking know what they're doing wrong? It's so important to get more information. Anna, isn't 2,232 pages enough information? Fuck no, it's not. It's not. It's not enough. I want more fucking details. Because when people start talking about, I'm sorry I'm yelling. I know everybody's had a stressful day. I'm sorry. I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just, it's the Italian in me. I get worked up over it. And I'm actually calm about it now. I was so much more worked up about it earlier. Whenever so much money is being allocated to the military, I'm sorry, call me a conspiracy theorist. I just can't help but think what we're doing is and then also the shifting of people out in one position. McMaster goes out, and then Bolton comes in, all this other stuff is shifting around, and all this other stuff, political fancy footing around. If there's a war, our kids are going to be the ones forced to fighting it, not theirs. It won't be theirs, unless you want to throw in some, voluntary martyr that they can choose, right? It won't be theirs. It's not theirs now. We should be in our own country, minding our own business with an arm's length to our allies for assistance with certain wartime activities. What the fuck has been going on in the past 18 years? We have the biggest military-industrial complex, yet we're still fighting terror. Boy, the terror has gotten very strong over the past fucking decade or two, hasn't it? Nobody wants to talk about that. I go back and forth about the validity at this juncture of WikiLeaks, but the information that was found on it, it's valid. I believe it is valid. These are emails and communications that go back and forth in real time, after the fact, but we're in real time. Nobody's negating it. Nobody negates that. So we can pretty much guarantee that that's factual information, right? And when we're looking at that, we can see what goes back and forth and who's being funded, who was, everybody who knew. Why are we palling up with the same people who were funding the terrorists? Well, because they jumped jump ship and this and that. It's just like, it's like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, it's just insane. And everyday average people need to feel okay about venting, just like I'm doing right now. Someone might say it doesn't do any good. You know, what are you going to do? You're only one person. I think it does do a lot of good. I believe that there is a collective consciousness of everybody. And sometimes just vocalizing like the fuckery that's going on, and it kind of almost funnels that energy in, and it conjoins with others, with that other energy, you know, in our world. And I think it makes a difference. So I think it's important to vocalize, you know, how we're feeling. I think that our outrage is justified. There are other people that say, oh, you know, don't complain. You know, people, they want to say, oh, you're jumping ship and this, that. They want to make it personal. They like personally attack you and try and say, oh, you're just complaining, or then they bring up Trump like he's your best friend. I'm pretty sure that nobody that I know feels like Trump is just their best friend, or they look at him like on a personal level. No, it's about policy. It's about what he's promised. It's about the hope that we have. And no matter what, okay? It was never going to be better with the option of Hillary Clinton. Ever. Like ever. Ever, 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 ever. It was never going to ever, ever be better because she was president. Ever. Actually, it would have been much, much worse. My opinion. I'm glad that people see, I mean, people, I could be wrong, but it seems like people are more conscientious about politics, about what's going on in the world than ever before. Of course, again, I could be biased. It could be because I'm so conscientious about it. We have so many tools at our fingertips, and every single time a door shuts down for censorship, or you can just observe like the algorithms. You know, YouTube does their algorithms. We need to do our own algorithms. We need to look and see what we're being punished for, what we're being told is wrong, and really don't quiet down that voice within you. That very sometimes subtle voice when you hear something or see something, and you know, you're just like, yeah, no, that's just not right. You know, you just know intrinsically. You may not know nothing about the topic, but you know something about that isn't right. You know that card game that we used to play when you were younger, that memory that you flip a card over and then you have to find the match. Sometimes you even flip that card over, you know something's not right. You just got to remember what that is. Because later on, oh, it comes back up. Because time does reveal most things. We're just so dazzled by everything else, the next new bright shiny thing and story and activity and, you know, fantastic, and the next thing is just more fantastic than the next, it seems, right? And then when that happens, and we got a, you know, catastrophe that happens, some natural disaster or new mass shooting. I mean, it's just it's got to be orchestrated. I know it's got to be orchestrated, because life was never like this. Sure, life had peaks and valleys, and things happened, and then things came in bursts and so forth, but really, anybody who's over the age of 40, you know life was never like this. It wasn't. It was not. Not to this degree, not to this magnitude. We have so much technology. We deserve to have the information. We deserve we should demand the truth. We should come together as a people. I think it would be, do you know how easy? It would be very difficult to get us all together because we're pitted against each other, but we could very easily say we are going to defund the government now. We, the fucking people, taxpayers, who are footing the bill for all of this bullshit, are defunding you motherfuckers until you show us what the fuck you're doing and we approve it. No congressperson should get a paycheck when they can't do their job. When they have to sit there and say, well, we're going to shut down. They wouldn't shut down that bitch if they weren't getting paid. They should be the first ones not to get paid if they can't do their job. This isn't rocket science. This is not rocket science. It's not. Okay, so I'm sorry. Nobody deserved to hear all that. Maybe I'll put a disclaimer in the title that unless you are a sadist, you don't want to listen to this blog. And of course, I'll do it in haiku format in some way. But